Reputable reports suggest that Tottenham are actively looking not only to replace Son Heung-Min in the starting 11 long term, but also to sell him and to look to recoup as much as £50 million for a deal taking our Korean legend to the Saudi League. Meanwhile, our potential route to the final of the Europa League is now clear, with potential nights in Amsterdam, 2 of them, on the horizon. And I'll give you my preview to tomorrow's game against Ipswich. Can we make it 3 on the spin? Or will the doctor make yet another patient home visit? All this and more on today's Daily Tottenham Hotspur news. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please do give this video a like if you're watching on YouTube, and press that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber for daily Tottenham Hotspur content. And of course, as we get closer to the transfer window opening again in the summer, all of those transfer rumours starting always, of course, with my beloved Tottenham Hotspur. And you can become a member, only £1 a month. All the details of how are in the description box below. But let's get started with that Europa League draw. And as we knew after last night's results, it was going to be AZ Alkmaar or Real Sociedad in the next round. And we drew AZ Alkmaar, who we played in the group stage earlier in the season. We won 1-0 at home. Don't forget, AZ Alkmaar is the team that Troy Parrott now plays for, and he's doing very well over there. But for me, I don't know what you think, let me know in the comments, but for me, it is a slightly better draw for Spurs and Real Sociedad, I would say. And also, as we knew, well, we didn't know after the kind of first leg win from AZ Alkmaar against Galatasaray. We didn't know that that Galatasaray were going to be out, but I do think that now that Galatasaray are out, it is a potentially easier draw for Spurs than having to go to Istanbul, where really anything can happen in those games. And you've got to give props, though, to AZ Alkmaar, who went and got a really good result against Galatasaray away yesterday when they were under real pressure after that first leg win. Anyway, Ange Postecoglou said this about the draw. He said, obviously a familiar opponent. We played them here at home and watched that game last night and the Real Sociedad game as well, knowing that they were likely opponents. So yeah, a good game for us. Excited by seeing the draw today. They did really well against Galatasaray. We played Galatasaray as well away, and that's a tough gig. They're a good side, so looking forward to it. Now, one thing I want to just say as a caveat, maybe this is just my, 35 plus years of being a Spurs fan talking. To be honest, under Ange Postecoglou, we've not done as well in the games we're expected to win as we have in the games where maybe we're not favourites. So, the fact that we've drawn AZ Alkmaar and we beat them at home earlier this season doesn't make it a guaranteed route through to the last 8. However, it is definitely a winnable tie over 2 legs, and as I'll talk about later in this episode, Ange has mentioned how he hopes to have some of his big hitters back in the side for that round of 16 game, which is at the beginning of March. First leg away, and then the second leg at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is the way you kind of prefer it. Although, if then we do get through to the quarterfinals and the semi-finals, both of those legs, both those draws would be with the away leg second. That draw has already been done, and actually we are likely to play, if we keep going through in the next round, Eintracht Frankfurt or Ajax. So no easy game there in the last 8 potentially, and then potentially if we got through that, Lazio in the semi-final, who Spurs have a lot of history with, of course, because we sold Paul Gascoigne, my idol, when I was going up to Lazio, and played a friendly against them, maybe even a couple of friendlies against them as a result. And Lazio have been really good this season at the top of that group phase. So some people are saying we've got the better half of the draw. I think it's a bit much of a muchness, really. And the reality is, if we're going to win the Europa League, we're going to have to beat some of these big teams. And it may well be an AZ Alkmaar, maybe Eintracht Frankfurt next, maybe Lazio semi-final to then face, who knows, in the final. Maybe Manchester United. I would say Manchester United on the basis just that those big clubs who have won lots of trophies, especially in Europe, the likes of Real Madrid, the likes of Manchester United, they just seem to have that belief when it comes to those games. And that, let's face it, is where Tottenham are lacking. And that's why there's a big doubt for me over whether we can really, truly go and win it. But I'm hopeful that Ange Postecoglou, because of his winning mentality, because of the way that he has won trophies at every club he's been at, and the way that he has been very positive about, I'm going to win something in my second season, maybe he can kind of bleed that into the players through osmosis and get them through this run. Okay, as I mentioned in the opening, some big reports over the last 24 hours that both Al Hilal and Al Ittihad are very interested in buying Tottenham captain Son Heung-Min in the summer. It's understood that both Saudi clubs would be willing to pay as much as €50 million, maybe even £50 million, to bring Son in this window. Tottenham, of course, did take up their option for another year on Sonny, so they have the right to ask for a transfer fee if indeed Son wants to leave this summer, or if indeed, as some of the reports are saying, they feel that Son does not have a long-term future at Spurs. Listen, I have to say, I love Sonny. I've been saying it for a long time. Those regulars to my videos will have heard me say many a time, give the boy a 10-year contract and have him as an ambassador or a coach or whatever he wants to do afterwards. And I still stick to that. However, if it comes to a point where Sonny thinks to himself he doesn't think he can play in the Premier League anymore, and his legs aren't there and he wants to go somewhere else, be that Saudi or wherever, if Tottenham can get 50 million euros or 50 million quid for him at 32 years old, then you'd have to say, snap the hand off, say, thank you, Son, you're a legend, give him a testimonial if he wants one, and invite him back to the club whenever he wants. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. A lot of people are jumping on Son at the moment, saying that he's finished, that his legs are gone. I don't agree with that. I just think his minutes need to be managed better, and we haven't been able to do that during the injury crisis. But players now coming back, big games coming up, and I would add Sonny to the list of players I've talked about regularly as just players that we should just play now in the Europa League. Honestly, I know it's mental, but I really would. I would just say, play Mikey Moore against Ipswich tomorrow. Play Timo Werner if he's fit. God, never did I think I'd say that again. Forgive me. But just get Sonny some rest before that game against AZ, and then keep him rested for the second leg as well. I would add into that. So I'd have give that Van der Ven and Romero, rest them except for the Europa League. Sonny, Dominic Solanke, rest him only for the Europa League. And then I think we can have a real hit at it. Okay, another rumour, Tottenham apparently willing to spend as much as 75 million euros, which is £62 million, on Atletico Madrid's all-action central midfielder Pablo Barrios, who's 21 years old. Bayern Munich also interested in him. Atletico having another amazing season, aren't they? Diego Simeone, what an incredible manager he is. I really felt like, I've said this a few times, but not everyone watches every video, but I really felt that Mauricio Pochettino could have had the career at Tottenham that Diego Simeone has had at Atletico Madrid if only we'd stuck with him during that difficult start to the 2019-20 season. There is a bit of a caveat, which I know Pochettino was also kind of hiking himself about for the Man United job, but had he wanted to stay long-term, I really feel like he could have done at Spurs what Simeone has done at Atletico Madrid. He would have started winning things if we'd invested more into the side. And what I love that Atletico Madrid have allowed Simeone to do over the years is they've had bad seasons here and there, but then he's rebuilt and rebuilt again. And they're really good. So it does kind of interest me why Pablo Barrios, 21 years old, exciting young player, all-action midfielder, as I said, would want to leave Atletico Madrid for the Premier League and for Tottenham Hotspur. So for me, I would give this transfer rumour probably only about 5 out of 10 at the moment, but who knows? You just don't know what people's ambitions are, and I do think Tottenham will have money to spend in the summer. Spurs are third in the net spend league table over the last 5 or 6 years since we moved into the stadium. So the money is being spent on transfer fees, but as ever, of course, it's about wages, isn't it? Okay, according to Bild in Germany, Tottenham have no intention of making Timo Werner's move permanent in the summer, and actually it's most likely that Leipzig's sister club, the New York Red Bulls, will be taking Timo Werner on next. Couldn't agree with that more. Thank you, Timo, for coming in. It's a shame that you've lost your confidence. You were a great player 5, 6, 7 years ago, but it's gone now, unfortunately. And I know I said earlier in the episode, play him ahead of Sonny, and I would if it means that we can rest Sonny, but also I wouldn't be devastated if we didn't see Timo miscontrolling the ball and missing chances on the pitch this season. Okay, so tomorrow, of course, 3 p.m. kickoff, Ipswich Town away. I will be doing the live watch-along on Chris Cowlin's YouTube channel, so come across to that at Chris Cowlin on YouTube if you want to see me doing that watch-along. Ipswich have only won twice since beating Spurs earlier this season. However, last week they did get an incredible draw at Villa Park, 1-1, and they had to have over half that game with 10 men. So very, very impressive result for them. They had Alex Palmer in goal. I think he was making his debut, and he played brilliantly. So hopefully he will have got all of those good saves out of his system. But obviously the key thing is, can Tottenham back up 2 Premier League wins in a row with a third? We need it. We want it. I'm hopeful that the confidence having come from getting that result against Man United last week and the Brentford result means we can play our football, we can move the ball around, and we can put them under pressure and win that game. Ange Postecoglou's press conference was pretty interesting. He said the following on Team News: no new concerns from last week, and the other guys are ticking along well. We've got 2 games in quick succession in the league because we've got Man City on Wednesday night. That's at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's a good opportunity to get some minutes for players. He reported no new concerns in terms of injuries, with Kevin Danso, Son Heung-Min and Rodrigo Bentancur all available to play after they came off early with knocks against Manchester United. He also, Ange, gave some a heads up on Romero and Van de Ven. On Christian Romero, he said it's going well for him and he's in a good place. I'm really keen to pick the right moment with him and Mickey to make sure we've got them for the rest of the season. And then it's almost like Ange has been watching my videos. He said he's hopeful of having them both back for the first leg against AZ Alkmaar. That's right, keep them in cotton, wrap them in cotton wool until that first leg against Alkmaar. And he said that he hopes to have Dominic Solanke and Richarlison fit not far after that. So I don't know if that's for the second leg a week later. I think the games are on the 6th and the 13th of March. But let's say they're not going to be available for that. But then if we can get through that match, the 2-legged match against AZ Alkmaar, then I think all things being well, we should have pretty much everyone available, bar Dragusin, for the quarterfinal if we can get through to it. Regarding tomorrow's game against Ipswich, Ange Postecoglou was asked about the reverse loss back in November. He was asked, what do you think you can take away from that game, or do you just think it'll be a completely different match? He said this: no, you do take away things. You know, they're a hard-working team. They're very well organised. They managed the game really well against us. They obviously scored and got ahead, and we found it really hard. We had our moments to get back in the game, but we couldn't. So it's really important that we don't allow that to happen again. Like I said, we know they're going to work hard. They're going to be well organised. They're going to fight for everything. So we've got to be in a mindset to match that and at the same time still play our football. I think that's important. As I said last week, it was important we won and we played well, but I think there are areas we can be better, and that's an opportunity for us tomorrow. Yeah, completely agree. Last week and the Brentford game were vital to get those points on the board. Let's not forget it. Before those 2 games, we were all looking at where Tottenham's next result in the Premier League was going to come from. We didn't see any easy games, really, until like Southampton in April. But now we have a chance to have won 3 on the spin. Relegation is not something we need to talk about anymore. Get the momentum up, get the confidence up, keep giving minutes to these players who are coming back from injury, keep getting minutes into the young boys like Bergvall, Mikey Moore, etc. And then let's just have the full squad available for that Europa League. And now we can, for the first time in years, just fully concentrate on a European run. In the back end, even of the 2019 season where we got to the Champions League final, we were still panicking about getting into the top 4 for the following season. So this season we don't need to worry about that, so we really can put all our eggs in that basket. Ange was asked whether it's a big opportunity this weekend to gain some momentum, as I mentioned. He said, yes, that's the opportunity that does exist. Obviously, our last 2 Premier League games, Brentford away and United at home, have been important results to try and arrest the bad form in the league, but you need to keep doing it and backing it up. Tomorrow's an opportunity to do that. It's not easy when you're playing away from home, and in the Premier League, especially against a team that's fighting like Ipswich are. So we know it's not going to be an easy one, but it's an opportunity for us now to get another strong performance, get another positive result, and like I said, hopefully provide a foundation for us to kick on. Ange was asked about how it is having normal training sessions again with everyone back fit, not everyone, but a lot of them back fit, and whether it fires up his coaching side of his brain again and using his management side to get players through the period. He said, yeah, look, I think there's 2 aspects of my role that you love more than most. One is game day and the other is training. Press conferences rank a bit lower down, to be fair, he said. You know, having the ability, and you kind of get frustrated when you're out there and you can't really do what you want to do as a coach, meaning because of the injuries. Not just me, but the other coaches as well. You design sessions, but you know guys are going to be walking through things and we're just trying to provide information. So there he's really talking about not being able to train enough on the pitch and at full intensity because of the amount of games that they've been playing. Whereas in the last 2 weeks, the training sessions, you walk off and you're pretty excited about what you've seen. You feel good about the session you put on, and the coaches get a buzz out of it. The players get a buzz out of it. So yeah, it's been good to be able to do that. I'm quite excited at the thought that maybe we'll see some more Ange ball then. I thought we saw a little bit of it against Manchester United, but now with some of these training sessions having gone through and feeling like and hearing that the players are putting in the intensity and the work and are able to really stretch their legs, then maybe we'll see more of what we really remember Ange ball being about. He was then asked whether Porro and Kulusevski still need a rest. He said, yeah, I think so. Like I said, these next 2 games are a good opportunity for us. Obviously, we've got Saturday and then we've got City midweek and then a week off before the AZ Alkmaar game. That's really important, isn't it? They'll really be able to, train properly for that Alkmaar game. So he said, I think these next 2 games, it was great to give Archie just a moment to have a breather last week, even though we had to put him on, because he's another that has racked up the minutes. But you're right, Pedro Porro, Kulusevski, these kind of guys, we've got an opportunity with the players we've got back to still maintain good levels of performance and to give them a little bit of a rest. Again, once Europe kicks in, we know we've got to play midweek and weekend again, so we want to make sure we've got enough in the tank, and we don't want to lose any players during this period either. So all good stuff from Ange Postecoglou. He seems positive. I'm hopeful that will result in the players being positive in the game. In terms of team news, Axel Twanzebe sending off at Villa Park means he will be suspended, and Ben Johnson will probably drop into a defensive role to cover that. And they've got some other blows injury-wise as well. Julio and Ciso probably out. Wes Burns, Connor Chaplin, Ogbeni and Walton also on the sidelines, as well as Smodic, Morsey and Leif Davis. So a lot of injuries for Ipswich, and that'll be the second week in a row, I guess, where Spurs have played teams who've had equal, if not worse, injuries than we have. In terms of possible starting lineup, I imagine it'll be Vicario, Porro, Danso, Davis, Spence, Bergvall, Bentancur, Maddison, Kulusevski, Tell and Son. The only thing for me is, might he play Destiny Udogie and give Porro a little bit of a rest and then bring Jed Spence over to the right-hand side? See what happens. Let me know what you think in the comments. And then finally, just an interesting one came from The Athletic, that they have seen an email that Tottenham sent round all the broadcasters saying the following: Tottenham Hotspur provided clarification regarding the club's name. They've requested the club are primarily known as Tottenham Hotspur, with Spurs being the preferred short version. The club have requested they are not referred to as Tottenham. This guidance has gone out to Premier League broadcasters all around the world, apparently, and the club's explanation is this: Tottenham is the name of the area, but not the name of the club. So that's a branding exercise from Spurs. Some of you would probably look at it and say that's kind of pointless, but I'm sure there is method in their madness. And it's probably something to do with trying to earn as much money as possible, I would have thought. And as long as that money gets put back into the team, I don't mind. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Apologies, this video is a little bit late on a Friday this time, but yeah, got the watch along tomorrow on Chris Cowlin's channel. Keep an eye out for that, and also I'll be doing my post-match reaction video on this channel as well. Do give this video a like if you haven't already. Please do subscribe to the channel if you want to hear daily and see daily Tottenham Hotspur news, which usually is live on YouTube every afternoon at 12:30. Enjoy your Friday night, and come on, you Spurs, tomorrow at Ipswich. Let's get 3 points. Cheers.